The town of Hollow Creek was small, quiet, and surrounded by dark woods. Only a few hundred people lived there, and most of them knew each other by name. Life was simple. Children played in the fields, men worked in the shops, and women gathered in the market square. But there was one place that no one liked to talk about. On the edge of the town, past the crooked trees and the silent road, stood the old graveyard. It was called Blackwood Cemetery. Some said it was cursed. Some said it was haunted. But everyone agreed on one thing: after sunset, you should never step inside. People whispered stories about shadows moving between the graves, strange cries in the wind, and glowing lights that floated above the ground. For years, no one dared to enter at night. 4 teenagers lived in Hollow Creek. They were close friends who often explored the woods and abandoned houses. Ethan curious, brave, sometimes careless. Lena smart, careful, and always asking questions. Jake loud, funny, but easily scared. Maya quiet, thoughtful, and good at noticing small details. One summer evening, they sat near the river talking about the legend of Blackwood Cemetery. Jake shivered. "I heard the graveyard is alive at night. My uncle said he once saw a shadow following him." Lena rolled her eyes. "Your uncle also said he saw a flying cow last year. Stop believing everything." Maya looked at the dark sky. "Still, people in town act strange when we ask about it. What are they hiding?" Ethan smiled. His eyes glowed with excitement. "There's only one way to find out. We go there at night." Jake's face turned pale. "Are you crazy? Nobody goes there." "Exactly," Ethan said. "That's why we should." The next day, Ethan came up with a plan. "Tomorrow night we sneak out. Just 1 hour in the graveyard. We explore, take a look, and leave. Easy." Maya hesitated. "What if the stories are true?" Lena shook her head. "Stories are just stories. I'll go, but only if we stick together." Jake sighed. "If I die, I'll haunt all of you." They laughed, but inside, their hearts were not calm. That night, none of them slept well. The thought of the graveyard stayed in their minds. What if they saw something real? What if they uncovered a secret no one else dared to touch? The following evening, the sky was heavy with clouds. The moon was hidden, and the wind was cold. The 4 friends met near the edge of town, each carrying a small flashlight. The road to the graveyard was silent. The trees stood tall, their branches twisting like arms. The air smelled of wet earth. With every step, Jake muttered, "This is a bad idea. This is a really bad idea." Ethan laughed. "Scared already? We haven't even reached the gate." When they finally arrived, the graveyard stood before them. The iron gate was rusty, half broken, and covered in vines. The old sign read. The letters were faded, but the warning was clear: this place was ancient. Maya felt a chill. "It looks like time stopped here." Lena pushed the gate. It creaked loudly, like a scream in the silence. They stepped inside. The graveyard was larger than they imagined. Rows of crooked tombstones stretched into the distance. Some were broken, some half-buried, and others covered in moss. A few leaned sideways, as if tired of standing for so many years. The air was heavy, colder than outside the gate. The friends walked slowly, their flashlights cutting through the dark. Every sound seemed louder here: the crunch of their shoes, the rustling of leaves, even the beating of their hearts. Jake whispered, "It feels like someone is watching us." Lena glanced around. "It's only your imagination." But deep down, even she wasn't sure. As they passed the first row of graves, Ethan pointed to a large stone cross. "Look at that. It's cracked right down the middle." Maya crouched and brushed dirt off a nearby headstone. The writing was almost gone, but she could read one word: unknown. She frowned. Why would someone be buried without a name? No one answered. They moved deeper into the graveyard. The wind blew harder, carrying a low sound. It was like a whisper, soft but endless. The four friends froze. "Did you hear that?" Maya asked. Jake clutched his flashlight tighter. "I told you. This place is haunted." Ethan tried to be brave. "It's just the wind." But the whisper didn't fade. It seemed to circle them, moving from one side to the other. Sometimes it sounded like a word, sometimes like a sign. Lena's voice was quiet. It's not the wind." For a moment, they stood close together, flashlights shaking in their hands. Then Ethan forced a smile. "Come on. We can't get scared already. Let's check out the old crypt." I saw it near the hill. The crypt was a small stone building with a heavy iron door. Its roof was cracked and weeds grew from the walls. An old carving above the door showed two angels, but their faces were broken. Ethan pushed the door. It didn't open. He pushed again, harder. With a loud groan, the door moved a little. A rush of air escaped from inside, smelling of dust and rot. Jake stepped back. "No way. I'm not going in there." Maya shivered. "It feels wrong." But Ethan's eyes were full of curiosity. "We came here to explore. If there's any secret, it will be inside." Lena hesitated, then nodded. "Fine. But we don't stay long." Together, they pushed the door open and shone their flashlights inside. The crypt was small, with stone walls and a floor covered in dust. In the center lay a coffin, black and old. The lid was carved with strange symbols. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, and the air was heavy. Maya whispered, "Who's buried here?" Lena stepped closer, brushing dirt off the lid. Her fingers stopped on a word scratched into the wood: "Beware." The lid was carved with strange symbols. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, and the air was heavy. Maya whispered, "Who's buried here?" Lena stepped closer, brushing dirt off the lid. Her fingers stopped on a word scratched into the wood: "Beware." Jake's face went pale. Nope. That's it. I'm leaving." Before they could argue, the whispering sound grew louder. This time it was inside the crypt. The friends turned their flashlights to the corner. For a second, they saw something move, a dark shape slipping against the wall. Maya gasped. "Did you see that?" Ethan frowned. "Probably just a shadow." But the corner was empty. Suddenly, Jake screamed. His flashlight beam shook wildly. "Something touched me." The others looked, but there was nothing there. Lena grabbed his arm. "Calm down. It's only your imagination." But she didn't believe her own words. The whisper rose into a soft cry, like someone calling from far away. The friends backed out of the crypt, pulling the heavy door closed behind them. Because the next time you are driving late at night and a strange road appears where there wasn't one before, ask yourself, do you really want to take it? But as they turned, Maya stopped. Her light had caught something unusual. At the far edge of the graveyard, under a large oak tree, there was a grave different from the others. Its stone was newer, smooth and white, while the others were old and broken. She pointed. "Look. That grave doesn't belong here." Curious, they walked toward it. The ground was soft, as if the grave had been disturbed recently. The stone reed, Lena whispered, "That's only 3 years ago." Jake frowned. "But this cemetery hasn't been used for decades. Why is there a fresh grave here?" Ethan knelt, touching the dirt. "Someone buried her in secret." Maya's eyes grew wide. What if this is the secret everyone is hiding? Before they could think further, a sudden sound echoed through the graveyard. A loud thump, like something heavy falling. The ground beneath their feet shook slightly. Jake panicked. "We need to leave. Now." But Ethan's eyes stayed on the grave. "Not yet. There's more to this." Jake panicked. "We need to leave. Now." But Ethan's eyes stayed on the grave. "Not yet. There's more to this." As they argued, the whispering turned into something clearer. This time it was a voice, soft but sharp, like glass breaking in the air. It said one word, "Stay." The friends froze. Lena's hand shook as she held her flashlight. "Did you hear that?" Jake's teeth chattered. I told you this place is cursed." The ground near Sarah Holloway's grave shifted, just slightly, as if the earth itself was breathing. Maya grabbed Ethan's arm. "We need to go. Right now." For once, Ethan didn't argue. His face had lost its bravado. "Okay, let's leave." They ran through the rows of graves, their flashlights bouncing wildly. The whispers chased them, growing louder until they burst out through the iron gate. Outside the graveyard, the wind was calm again. The night was silent. Jake bent over, catching his breath. "Never again. I'm never coming back here." But Ethan's eyes, though filled with fear, still carried a spark of curiosity. He looked back at the graveyard, the tall oak tree, and the white stone that seemed to glow faintly in the dark. He whispered to himself, "Who is Sarah Holloway?"